Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a comedy legend with me today. Vanessa Hollingshead is here. I don't know how I managed to pull this off, but Vanessa, thank you so much for being here.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here.
It's way too early to be drinking.
Oh,
Now you're let's
certainly not
go.
with the way I used to drink. I'd
Oh
start
no, I
at
know.
6 o'clock.
I
Yeah,
got some stuff written down. You're
yeah.
in New York, right?
Yes.
Were you born and raised in New York?
Born and raised in New York. Yep.
Okay.
Native New Yorker, born in New York City Hospital. I mean, you can't get more New York than that.
Well, I'm from the old York. I was born in the York Hospital in York, Pennsylvania. They say
Wow.
they do in New York, we did in York. York's the first capital of the United States, believe it or not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, people argue about it. Well, I want to start right away because normally I follow a path on this, but with you, I'm going to switch it up.
Okay.
On Instagram, you have happy yet not or unreliable yogi.
Yeah.
Now, I know you do a bit about some hot yoga. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I took hot yoga as a way to calm down. I stopped drinking a while ago, and
Okay.
my friend suggested you'll feel high when you leave the class. It's just that it's 90 minutes and it's 110 degrees. And
Whoa.
I actually ended up drinking in the yoga class, which was,
Did
that
you
was really
really?
bad. Yeah, yeah. No, I couldn't, I had a hard
That's
time
funny.
balancing. And I didn't realize that the Cabernet was coming out of my pores, but it was a fun class. I took it with another comedian friend. I think we're both a little under the influence, and we took the yoga class.
Have you seen the goat yoga and the puppy yoga?
The puppy yoga, yeah, and I've been doing yoga now for 13 years, and it's like it's the first time I did it, I couldn't believe I managed to last. And then you get addicted because you get this wonderful feeling, and then the other thing is you just look at your body a little bit differently. It starts to get stronger. You lose your women have so many issues with the body, body self-loathing or body positivity, all of that. So
Yeah.
it really was and now I've got like yogi friends and I still can't bend. I'm still inflexible, but I still keep it up. I do it like 6 days a week.
No shit. Well, the puppy yoga, the first time I saw it was on the Today Show
Mm-hmm.
a couple months ago. And I saw these little puppies running around, and one of them pissed on the floor. And that's what I thought. Because then another person on Instagram, they had like 20 puppies, 30 puppies running around.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
No, I was going to do the puppy yoga and I'd heard of goat yoga and kitty
Did you
yoga.
do that?
Yeah, no, not yet. But I work at Bidewee, so I work with the puppies a lot. I volunteer at Bidewee. We've been volunteering there for 3 years.
Okay. Well, let's keep going.
Okay.
Another thing on your bio on I think Instagram and X and some of these, always trying to get off on substance.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, like if I tell people, like I'm addicted to soft vanilla Carvel ice cream with the cherry bonnet. Addicted. Like I remember, I was doing an outside show during COVID, and Carol Montgomery, who's a good friend of
I
mine,
know,
was
Carol.
saying, "Okay, you close the show," and I saw four soft vanilla ice cream trucks, and
Oh
she could have
no.
said, "I have cancer. My father just died." And I'd be like, uh-huh, uh-huh. I'm like, is this ice cream thing going to be open when we leave? I mean, it's that bad. I'm like, this is worse than alcohol. I mean, it's up there with alcohol in terms of addictive substances.
Yeah, yeah.
Binge watching. I just recently binge watched my brilliant friend. My friend said, just please watch one episode. It's so good. When
Oh
I
yeah.
just watch one episode, it's so good. You just as well say, why don't you just try heroin, see if you like it? I don't I don't just like watch one episode. I'm like, okay, I'll watch another. I'll watch another. I'll watch
Yeah.
another. Well, I'm cat sitting. I'm not doing, you know what? Okay, so I get 2 hours sleep. I'll be fine. I'll just have a cup of coffee.
Right,
Like I
right.
keep, and it was in Italian subtitles. I was thinking Italian. I was like, why are you watching so much of TV? You gotta get away from the TV. I slap your face.
Oh my God. You're not disappointing so far.
Oh, oh.
And the reason that I switched this up because, and I'm going to try and tie it together at the end, because there are so many accolades. You've been doing comedy for 30 years. You were on the Funny Women of Certain Age on Showtime. You had a Comedy Central thing, Dry Bar Comedy. You perform for the troops. And I'm not trying to, but I mean, we could spend a half hour talking about all your accolades. So I want to continue because you've got stuff coming up. Um, and you continue to work like crazy. Just this past weekend, you were in the Hamptons, and I actually sent you a message because the video that you and Stacy shot, and I'm telling you the truth, even though I'm sure it was unscripted and everything, that was as good as anything I've seen on, network television or whatever, because it would be a commercial for your show.
Yeah, well, we have such great chemistry. I've known Stacy for like
Right.
maybe
Excuse me.
24 since she started comedy, and we always loved each other. We're always close. And she takes care of my two kitty cats when I'm away.
Right.
We just get through everything. And so we just naturally have a great chemistry. Uh and she's so good at the social media. She's so good at posting. I'm like, Stacey, I don't even know how to put up an Instagram. I don't know how to do it. Everybody's got like, you gotta like have algorithms. You need to like do a post. Matter of fact, it could be like you can cry. You could talk about being suicidal and you'll get
You
followers.
get
I'm like,
views. You get
and it's,
views.
you could, how about you do one talking to your cat? How about you do one acting like you're doing yoga? It can be like just a New York minute, and I'm actually no one has any attention, so make it a New York 20 seconds.
Yeah. Right.
Just and I just haven't gotten to that. And everyone I talk to, it's like, well, you got to have a podcast. You have a podcast? I'm like, no, I barely do people's podcasts.
Right. No, I know.
I know
Well,
everyone.
aren't you though involved with the What the Fuck podcast? Mark Marone, is that how you say it? Mark Marone, is that right?
Mark Maron. I did
Mark
the what
Maron. I'm sorry, Mark
when I had
Maron.
laryngitis. The worst thing that could have happened. I was on the show for 2 hours talking about my life with laryngitis. I sounded like Kathleen Turner. It was like, yeah, no, and then my dad gave me the LSD. I'm like, how could this be? The one it's like, and then I was thinking of Louise Hay. Sometimes you don't feel heard, so you get laryngitis. Sometimes you speak too much, so you get laryngitis. I'm like, why did I get laryngitis on one of the most important podcasts when he has a viewership of 6 million people? That's the day I had to get friggin'
Yeah,
laryngitis.
you're healthy as hell with this little dog and pony
Oh
act.
yeah, no problem.
Now I know, again, I watched a lot of videos because I really wanted to try and prepare for this about you being offended. Where when people are offended, you that tends to trip your trigger a little bit.
Oh, when I hear the ooh, I'm like, why? Why? I did a joke about dating a German guy, and I actually combined actually dating an Irish guy. I put the two together, to
Right.
protect guilty. And this really, I was living with, I wasn't living with, he's my boyfriend, and he used to fart. I'd be having my bagel, and he would just fart. I'm like, Joe, do you mind? I'm losing my appetite. And he's like, well, you want to lose weight anyway. I'm like, I don't want to lose weight by smelling your fart, not enjoying my bagel.
Hey,
Uh, you,
was he the German guy? Did you date a
oh no,
German guy for
I
a
made
while?
him German. I made him the German guy. I took Joe, the real life,
Okay, you turned
and
him
I
into
made it the German guy who was actually German American, but I made him German
okay.
German, because
Right,
so Joe, I said, and here was the kitchen, and the
right,
bathroom was
right.
right next door. And he's like, you know what? You're shaming me, Vanessa. I come from a family of farters. And I'm like, well, I don't. It's really rude. So when I did the German thing, I'm
Right.
talking about my German boyfriend. And I said, so all he does is fart all the time. And I'm like, can you can you go into the bathroom and do that? He's like, no. I said, you're farting. It's really disgusting. He's like, I am German and you are shaming me. I come from a family of farters. And I'm like, well, I come from a family of alcoholics. We go into the bathroom and drink. And then he says, I am German and I have gas. And I'm like, I don't like to hear German and gas in one
Yeah,
sentence.
right, right,
I get a,
right.
then I get a ooh. I'm like an ooh. A war 80 years ago. You're oohing?
Yeah.
Really? So that, and then when people get offended, I had to change a joke. I said, I'm so bad with technology. I'm in the process of adopting an Indian kid so I could figure out how to work my cell phone.
Right.
And I go, shut it down. Of course, it had to be like some, young girl from California. And I'm like, we it's like when people get easily offended, what they're saying is we're muzzling ourselves. We haven't lost freedom of speech because we're muzzling our own freedom of speech. We see things as they are. We don't want to offend anybody, so we don't say it. Like if there's a person of color at a cash register talking on her phone all the time, talk black girl on the phone, huge long line, be a bunch of white people, maybe hopefully a black woman. And you're on the line. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm like, what the fuck is, and I'm thinking, and I want to say, do you mind? There's a whole bunch of people. We say nothing, white
Yeah.
privilege. And I keep hoping there's a black woman out and go, you ain't at home talking to, you ain't at home. Get off the damn phone. Can't you see there's a goddamn line? I'm like, why? That's what I want. Can I say this? No. Is it the
No,
truth? Absolutely.
Vanessa, you're talking to a guy that got fired for telling jokes. I've been kicked off Facebook 9 times in 1 year. I got kicked off YouTube for 3 days. Then I got kicked off for a week. My brother came and checked on me because the only way he knows that I'm okay, he said, I didn't see any posts for like a week. I thought you were dead.
Right. Right. It's
But
just gotten to a point with the cancel culture. And then what upsets me is a comedian, like I was thinking of the Kevin Hart thing when he was supposed to host the Oscars,
yeah,
and they
yeah, yeah.
found a joke from like 16 years, and
Yeah.
it couldn't like during that time and during way before with the
I
Archie
know. I know.
Bunker's and the and Eddie Murphy and Don
Yeah,
Rickles.
yeah.
It was perfectly okay. No one got offended and took it the wrong way, and they
I
just
recently
shut it down.
I recently had a joke on Instagram went to like 300,000. And I think you might be able to get away with Mexicans.
Yeah.
I
No,
honestly got,
actually, no.
no,
I worked on ships. You can't.
I'm not lying, Vanessa. The joke was, I'll do it. It was, if I had a nickel for every racist thing I ever said, some Mexican would probably rob me. I actually changed that from what it was originally. And I still got tons of, I thought the cartel was going to be outside the house.
Yeah.
You think you're funny, gringo. Wait, no, it was a joke. Jesus Christ. It's the world we're living in now. You got to be careful with everything you're doing.
But you see, the thing, people get offended when you're doing it's like no one forced you to go to a comedy show.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
used to be they didn't try and destroy your career. They'd say, you know what? She's not my cup of tea. He's not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna, I don't think I'm not,
Yeah.
that's all that would happen. Now they troll you, they try and destroy you, they want to cut you, destroy your livelihood, destroy you the way you protect your family. Now, these same people, you look at your iPhone, right? Your iPhone, it's made by factory workers in Shenzhen for they work hours a day. They can't even, by the time they're 24, their fingers are all mangled because they make the same thing. They have nets set up so that they don't commit suicide. No one has a problem with that. No one
Right.
gets offended or even questions that. So, this is the hypocrisy that makes me physically ill.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just this week, or actually just yesterday, I put a joke up. I do quickies. I have these short, just little one-liners. I do I've been doing this for a while, and Did some, it was some goofy, I think, why did the dinosaur cross the road? Because the chicken wasn't around yet. Just to throw off, just to try and just get shorts. And, I throw it on Instagram, whatever. And some guy came after me, I thought comedy was supposed to be funny. And right below it, now some other kid got into it with him. Well, I thought it was funny. Before you know it, the comments, and meanwhile, it's blowing up. It's at 3,000 views. And I'm just sitting there, I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, yeah.
It was ridiculous. There were, some of the best jokes that I really like, and yet some little dinosaur crossing the road joke. And because there's 11 comments and they're fighting, I even sent it to a friend of mine. I said, "Look at this; they're fighting amongst themselves."
That's what happens. That's what
Yeah,
happens. They go to, but they go to bat for you. And I just find the whole thing utterly ridiculous with the things that matter. There's things that
yeah.
matter. We've gotten,
Well, in that bit, you said it's easier to be a politician these days than it is to be a comedian because
yeah,
you're gonna piss off somebody.
yeah.
Well, let's move on because and I do want to cover a little bit here because it'll tie into a question I have. You opened for Richard Pryor, for Jerry Seinfeld, for Chris Rock, a ton of great artists besides all the comedy you've done. Uh, did you have a favorite show that you've done over all the years? And then, of course, the
Well, the
follow up,
Richard Pryor
a
just
least
happened.
favorite show. Richard
That
Pryor.
that was one of the most. I mean, I read every. When I say I opened, like I would be at clubs where they were, and then sometimes Bill Maher I opened for, Richard Pryor
Okay,
I opened for.
right.
Some of the more famous ones I happened to open, and then they went up right
Okay,
after
yeah,
me. So I
with
put that. But
Seinfeld, whoever, yeah,
I've
whatever.
worked with these comedians
Right.
on the same stage. So I just
So
want to.
Richard Pryor would be your favorite, and then where I think the meet is the least favorite show, one that really just this is your opportunity to throw somebody way under the bus.
I'm not gonna.
No,
My
I'm teasing.
favorite show is when I started off and I was literally just doing comedy for a few months. And it was for a bunch of retired police officers in Queens. And I hadn't been doing comedy more than a few months.
Right.
And they just, shut the fuck up. You're not funny. Like just mean. And
Oh,
never,
God.
it was like, I felt like I was being brutalized. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, next. I mean, they were just so nasty. And I just thought these mean cops, I always like cops and fuck them all. Jesus.
Fuck them
You got
all.
some anger issues. And and then this one comedian, I'll never forget this as being like learning. It was probably where I learned such a great message. She comes up on stage and she said, you're all a bunch of bullies. And she started like making fun of this cop and that cop, and they all started laughing. And she was like my hero. And I watched her change the entire room around, call them on their crap, have funny material because she'd been doing
Yeah.
comedy a while. I forgot her name. I was so nervous after the show, and I was on the train with her, and I was like, why'd they? I was like, why'd they have to be so mean? I was just trying to make them laugh. And I used to like police officers, just mean, fucking angry people. I come from a dysfunctional family. I've been fucked up my whole life. You think And she says, you should have started talking like that. You should have said, do you think you're
Yeah.
gonna? I come from both my parents did drugs. I've seen
Right.
it all. You think I'm gonna be like, but I didn't. I was so new. And then she ended up committing suicide, and it broke my heart because
Really?
she was like kind of
Wow.
my comedy angel, and I learned she was my hero. I'll never forget. She was just my hero. She stuck up for me.
I saw a podcast you did recently, and you talked about comedy and how instead of just doing short little bits, that you take one thing and turn it into 7 minutes, and all the jokes are intertwined in there. And I just thought that was so brilliant because I know for just a little bit I've been doing it, the funniest stuff I do is when it really happened. Like me calling Comcast and a representative, God damn it,
Yeah,
representative.
Right.
and you're trying to get somebody. Oh, they fucking hung up on me. God damn it. Before you know it, you're ready to throw the phone. But that to me is when, and I think that's why that advice hits so well with you because, that is what, when you really show, and that's what I love about you. You are honest and like, let's hardcore and softcore porn. You do a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never seen when I saw that hardcore, I was like, what is wrong with these guys? This is the crap they watch. And then there's this thing called oh God, I forgot it. It's like when a woman like kills an animal with her high heel. Like I forgot the
What?
what?
What? I'm still.
You don't
I
know
see.
what
I
kind
don't
of
think I
you should
Vanessa. I'm just a
know your
Pornhub guy.
porn. You
I'm
should know
just a
your porn.
Pornhub guy. I don't. I've never. I don't know the.
It wasn't snuff film. It was snuff films for animals. I'm like, how in God's name could a guy get off on a woman taking a high heel and stick it in some live dead birds and killing a dead bird? Like both of you rot in hell.
Oh, Jesus God. How are the cats?
My cats are great. I sacrifice my life to these cats. My
I
cats
thought.
are so
I thought
spoiled.
I might try
When
and
I
just.
go to heaven, Cleopatra's going to be there. I'm going to be surrounded by Egyptians with the cats because that's
Really.
be
Well,
fine.
you only have two right now,
Yes, but I
and
grew
you're
up with
watching. You're
16.
watching a third one.
No, I watch. Yeah, I watch a third one, Mr. Mitten's
Right.
Next Door, and then I take care of the cats and the dogs. I take care of the dogs at Bideaway, and I
Okay.
actually do a bit on this because we're always trying to find
Right.
forever homes. They just live in
Right.
these cages. I clean up the poopy dog cages,
Right.
and it's a labor of love, but I make their little beds. And sometimes these dogs, there's shit all over the walls. They're nervous, and it's like, and then we try and find forever homes for them. And everybody wants, like, because we live in New York, they want a tiny dog. They want a small dog.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, what I do is I lie. So I just, they're like, I'm talking to
Yeah, he's just a
somebody,
little fella.
and they're like, and they said, so what kind of dog is it? I said, well, it's a little Chiweenie, miniature dachshund mix. And they're like, are you sure? Because the
He's,
paw is like half the size of the body. Oh yeah, yeah. Because what happens, because it's not a pedigree, it's a mutt. Mutts grow
oh
differently.
my God.
So what I do is what happens with the little mutt is the paw is going to go inside, and because it's part dachshund, it's going to slowly extend like a frankfurter, like a hot dog. You'll see. Oh,
I
yeah,
love dogs.
me
I'm not
too.
a big cat guy, but I love dogs.
I've got my dog. My cat's like a cat dog. She's insecure. She's needy.
Really?
She needs constant amounts of attention. She's loving. She's affectionate. She's my cat dog. She's a cat
A
dog.
cat dog.
My
Okay.
other cat is aloof. My other cat is like, you're
Yeah.
lucky you know me.
You know what? That's true. I haven't had a lot of good luck with cats, but some cats are really nice, affectionate, come up and rub on you. Other cats don't want do anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about the TV series you're working on about your father. I have the title written down if I could read it. Is that still something that's going on?
Yeah.
I forget what is the title of the. I have it written down here, but I can't read it. My eyes are so bad.
The Divine Rascal.
Yeah, the Divine Rascal, and I didn't know, honest to God, Vanessa, until because again, I try and do my due diligence, and Wikipedia, I come up and I read about your father, and I was like, that can't be true. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I used to do like that's how I ended up those are my first jokes. And they were based on all my jokes are based on childhood trauma and
Okay.
being in and out of different homes and having crazy, emotionally they very, very bright parents, but they're completely unavailable because my dad was off, trying to turn on the world. And I
Yeah,
remember
and what I was talking about, so people that don't know, it said, and I don't know if it's true, but Paul McCartney and Timothy Leary, that your dad actually turned them on first. Is that correct?
Yeah, my dad gave the first hit of LSD to Timothy Leary and then to Paul McCartney, but he
Wow.
got completely eradicated from history, So this show kind of, and also these men like Timothy Leary and Baba Ramdas, they were, brilliant scientists from Harvard. And my dad was very brilliant and,
Right.
a drinker, very bad drinker, did drugs, drug addict.
Yeah.
And so you get these, you don't you don't think you're going to wind up. I just thought I liked candy too much. I started with the addiction. I was addicted to sugar. And I didn't really start drinking heavily until my husband died when I was 44. And
Right.
then I crossed that line, and then I realized, oh my God, I'm turning into my dad. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know where it came from, but that's what happened. But so I'm all about recovery, but protecting 12-step programs with the anonymity. But I don't mind talking about my own recovery. I just try
Sure.
and but thank God for thank God for AA,
Well,
it literally
The Divine Rascal, is
I,
that going to be like a comedy drama or just all serious?
it's gonna be like a dark. I'm not sure. We're still working. I don't even want to talk about it because good things are
No, no, no.
happening.
We
I
don't
don't
have
want to
to.
put a
No,
I don't
no.
want to put the kibosh on it. It's just
Yeah.
so. But
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be a dark comedy, but based on, I started working on Flashback with my writing partner years ago in
Okay.
1999, and it took us 4 years. And the tagline was, what do you do when your father's closer to Timothy Leary than he is to you? And then I took a break from that, did my comedy, was doing both.
Yeah.
Jeannie went her own way. We came back together again. We started working on it. We get rejected. Would make it an animated series, rejected. Make it this series, rejected. Fix
Okay.
this up. On and on. And we somehow just kept believing in ourselves and kept trudging away. And there was periods where I was drinking, and she was stone cold sober, and there was periods where she was doing heroin and I was stone cold sober, and and we finally were able to get it together.
Good.
And
Good.
so we spent the last 5 years working on this and believing in it and never losing faith, where people would have been like, you're still working on that show. And it's like, the thing I learned is, literally don't stop believing. Do not
No,
stop
no,
believing. That's the,
no. And you know
and
what?
I don't know what I would have done without her. I mean, we have a show within a show just about our friendship, what our friendship went through, just
Okay.
keeping this going.
Well, and I didn't mean to. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but uh, coming from the music business, it's drive and desire. For me, when people say, "Well, I want to do this," or "I want to do," I worked with big star. Well, my son can sing, or I can sing. It's drive and desire. If you have enough drive and enough desire, you can make it. If you lose either one, you're not going to make it. I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but I mean, and that's what it sounds like to me. You just got drive and desire on this thing,
Yeah, and absolute faith. Yeah, we had drive and desire, and we were both,
and you never lose it. Yeah,
and we both complimented each other. She
good,
was
good.
very good with the details, and I was very good with the. Well, let's get this. We'll punch up the line. I was so good with dialogue. I used to love
Yeah,
write. I love writing dialogue, and then she would kind of frame it and fix it, and then
good.
she's always trying to find synonyms. So I used to, and I was going crazy. I'm like, Jeannie, how many freaking things for
Yeah.
like for important like, and then I eventually, just because I loved her so much, and I started singing, I want to be with the synonym girl. I could with
Oh,
the
that's
synonym
great. That's great.
girl. And that's what, and I just managed to laugh through it because I literally don't know what I'd ever do without her. I literally, there's not one day I don't thank God for Jeannie Heaton.
Yeah. I'm thankful to have great friends and believe it or not, someone like you. I call it again, my whole thing's music, but what crumbs of joy can I steal from this day? That's a line from a Squeeze song, and it's always held, and you are my crumbs of joy today. And I mean that because you make me laugh, and laughter, I'll use a Robin Williams line, laughter is the enema of the soul.
Yes.
Laughter is, and when you make me laugh like that, I mean, it really is. And you are a funny, funny woman. I couldn't be more grateful to have you on the show.
What was my absolute pleasure.
We're not done yet. We still got a
Oh,
little bit. We still got a little business to do. If you know what
okay.
I'm talking
Okay.
about, we
Oh,
got a
yeah.
little business to finish up with. But I want to make sure, honestly, Vanessa, that we cover everything because I could not tell you how much respect I have for you. I've worked with a lot of big stars, but I'm none bigger than you. And for you to come and do my show, it means the world to me. But I want to make sure, and trust me, when it comes time, I told Stacy, and we should pay respect to Stacy Pressman, who made this possible.
She made
And I
it possible.
promised Stacy that I'm going to be there with you guys. Anything I can do, I'll put everything I have behind it because I have a little weight with some of these social media things, and I'll help you and do everything I can to help you because I love you guys. I mean that.
Well, that's really sweet of you.
Stacy was nice enough to
Because of
come on.
Stacy, I did this. Stacy said, it'd mean a lot to a friend of mine, this guy Scott, if you did, he thinks you're a legend. I'm like, what? I said, Stacy, I hate doing podcasts. I hate
I
doing
know, I
it
know, I know.
means so much to him. I'm like, Stacy, well, all right. Okay, let me do it. Let me do it and make him
And here
extreme.
we are. So
And here we are.
let's
And it's
finish.
like, just go do and just it's absolutely wonderful doing your podcast. Really
Wonderful,
was.
wonderful. That's
And I would have been nervous meeting all these rock
nothing
stars.
makes me feel better than when I'm done and go, Scotty, I had a great time. You were so easy to talk to, and
Yeah,
that's what I want.
right,
For people to see a side of you they didn't see, and for people to let their hair down.
right.
Nancy Levine told me a story, that just blew. She said, "I can't believe I'm telling you this." Well, good.
Yeah.
That's what people want to hear.
What
I'm
did you
still
do
I'm
with
still
all
doing what
the
I'm doing.
what did you do with the mute? What did
No, 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 enough of that. No, we're not. I don't take questions. I'm sorry. You'll have to
Okay.
come back another time.
All right. No,
No,
I'm just curious if you had
I
gold.
worked for RCA. I worked for a couple of different record companies, but we're going to run out of time, and I'm hoping you'll do it for me. Your comedy minute. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have something that can make you laugh or that always makes you laugh? A little something?
I'm, I'm thinking of something.
It's perfect, whatever it is.
There's like a rainbow coming
Yeah,
on
I
over
don't know what
here.
that's about now.
I have no idea. Probably maybe I have no idea, but it's wild.
Hey, it's a special occasion. It's a special your comedy minute
This
with
really
Vanessa
happened.
Hollingshead. We got a rainbow for God's sakes.
I know this is well,
It's all
at
right.
least my prayers get answered and you do yoga and this is what happens.
We got a rainbow
Yeah,
all
this
of a
is what happens.
sudden.
You get a rainbow in the middle of your show. Okay.
God,
Maybe because I live in a gay
I can't
neighborhood.
dream it up this good, Vanessa.
Yeah. I know I
It
live in
was
a gay
perfect the whole
neighborhood. I like
time.
we're with you.
Yeah. Well, you got a
Um,
quick something you give me, Vanessa
I'm
Hollingshead, your comedy minute, anything at all.
I was talking to a comedian and he said, "You know what? I know you do that show for older women called Funny Women of a Certain
Right.
Age." And he goes, "I thought of another name for it. How about broads before they shrivel up?" I just I burst out laughing. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
How
Broad.
politically incorrect is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Broads
That's like
before they shrivel up.
yeah, that's why I broached the subject of, well, you've been doing it for
And
30
then
years.
another
How old are you?
stupid time. I remember Louis C.K. was giving an interview and he was backstage and he hadn't been doing comedy that long. And he said, this guy closed with this song parody and he's singing, instead of singing sitting on the dock of sitting on the
Sitting on
dock
the
of the
dock of the
bay, he
bay.
was like, sitting on a cock because I'm gay. And that was I can't even listen to sitting on the dock of
Yeah.
the bay. All I hear is sitting on a cock because I'm gay.
Yeah.
It's just one of those stupid things.
Gets in your head.
I hope no
Earworms,
one
they
gets
call them.
offended. You know,
Earworms, they call them. Well, let me stop the
dear
recording.
word.
Well, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here and for the rainbow all of a sudden. And it's just
Yeah,
been
rainbow all
amazing.
of a sudden. Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it happened,
I have no idea.
but it's magic.
I get
Let me
matter of fact,
stop
I
the
gotta take
recording,
a picture.
okay?
This is like this never happened. What are the chances of doing an interview and then
Hey, it's
rainbow?
like the laryngitis.
Yeah. Well, that was horrible. This is
Here,
wonderful.
I'll wait. I'll wait. Go ahead, take another picture. There we go. Let me stop the recording. Hold on a second.